Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a full face get ready with me tutorial where I'm recreating the look that I wore in last Friday's video that so many of you love so much and requested a tutorial on. Actually, the eye look has been requested for months now, ever since I got this Sephora I Love palette, and I have been wearing this a lot, and every time I wear it a lot of people ask for a tutorial, so I've been meaning to get this one out to you guys. So many people requested this cool pink spring look that I wanted to get it out to you quickly because spring is upon us. It's March already, thank goodness. The temperatures are getting a little better and we can start wearing our lighter weight clothes and our spring makeup, so happy about that. So I'm going to walk you through this entire look today from beginning to end, including foundation and everything else, with all my usual anti-aging, how to put on your makeup to make your face look younger tips and tricks. Links for everything will be in the information box below the video. So let's get started with the tutorial. All right, let's get started first with the primers. I'm going to use Fenty Beauty Amplify primer on my eyelids. Eyelid primer, always really important for keeping your eyeshadow in place and looking good all day long. And this is a really good one that doesn't make your eyelids look older or crepier, and it keeps your eyeshadow in place all day without creasing. So then the face primer that I used that day, which I was just testing out, I don't usually use primer with this foundation, but I had picked up this e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer and I wanted to try it just to see if it would disguise my pores a little bit. Estee Lauder Futurist, which is the foundation I'm going to be using today, is so good at staying on my nose all by itself with no primer. So it's one of these really silicone-y kind of putty ones. I basically just press that in and try to get it into the pores from all angles. All right, so in the Estee Lauder Futurist, I don't have a perfect shade match. The shade that I'm wearing is 2W1 Dawn, but I do have to make it a little bit darker. So I have really fallen in love with this little kit from Ulta that comes with a little mixing board and also 2 shades of foundation mix-ins. This is called the Ulta Foundation Adjusting Drops. So there's a darker one and there's also a lighter one. So that rather than buying 2 shades of the foundation, which can get kind of pricey, you can just buy this little kit, 2 pumps of the Futurist foundation on the palette, and then I mix in 1 drop of the darker shade of the Ulta mix-in drops. I have this tiny little spoon thing that I can't even remember where I got it. I'll link a little baby spatula on Amazon below the video. To apply the foundation today, I'm going to use my BK Beauty 101 brush. Okay, clean off my spatula with my face, and then I'm just going to dot this around and start applying. I like to use this brush kind of in a stamping, stippling, and a little bit of a dragging motion. Is how I think it works best, but this is such an amazing foundation brush. I mean, I've been doing YouTube videos and makeup tutorials for what, 7.5 years now, and I had never found a foundation brush that I really liked, and this is just like so good, the creme de la creme of foundation brushes. I feel like I might need actually another half a drop of the mixer, and that's what's nice about these, is you can adjust as you go. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. That just seems like a little bit light comparing it to my neck. I'm just going to build it up a little extra on this side with some of the darker shade. And then don't forget to do your neck and your jawline because you want everything to be nice and even. All right, let's go ahead with the under eye concealer. I'm going to use my Lancome Mackie Complete today. I put a little bit out on the back of my hand. And then I use this little travel Sephora lip brush to apply it to my under eyes, and I really don't use a lot of concealer. Just use it mainly at the inner corner where the darkness is. I don't really want to get a lot of it out here where my wrinkles are. And then I'm just going to use my finger to press that in. I kind of press in almost like a little bit of a pulling away from my nose motion, because if you have those little diagonal lines in there, if you push in, it really accentuates those. That is nice and smooth and covering, and so now I want to set it right away. I'm going to use the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores powder and the BK Beauty 108 brush. It's just a little bit smaller than the brush I always had used, which was the e.l.f. blush brush, which of course is, frightfully inexpensive. So if you need a cheap, good brush for setting your concealer, that one's great. And I don't really do a, big bake. This foundation tends to be a little bit luminous and glowy for me, so I'm just going to pick up whatever's left in the cap on the brush, and I'm going to set my T-zone and the fronts of my cheeks, my upper lip, because I don't really like my upper lip to be shiny. I feel like that makes me look kind of sweaty. And then I usually do like the front center of my chin, and I leave the rest of my face, like the tip of my nose and over here and everything, nice and glowy, because this foundation has such a beautiful, youthful finish. I just love it so much. It's my new holy grail. I've been using it every day. So for the bronzer, I'm going to use the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and this one is in the shade Bronzer. And this is the BK Beauty 102 brush. For the bronzer, I do my forehead. I start like in my hair. I don't ever want to get like a big glob of bronzer that's unblended looking. And then I just kind of try to cheat the corners of my forehead because I do have kind of a big wide forehead. So I just then blend it using straight strokes kind of from the middle of my forehead down to my eyebrow. And that's kind of where, it's kind of bronzing and contouring at the same time. Then I pinch the brush together, get a little bit more powder, and I go in, again, starting at my hairline back here, because I don't want to put it out here to start, because then for some reason wherever you put it first is where it seems to stick and stay. So I start back here in my hairline, because I don't ever want my contour to be like really obvious and coming way out here. I just like a little bit right here. And then I always do some down here on the old sagging jowlies. So gotta get those looking a little better. And then with whatever's left on the brush, I just go down the sides of my nose, kind of narrow out the center of my nose. Right, then for blush, I had used the Buxom Wanderlust blush in Seychelles. And for the blush, I'm going to use my It Cosmetics 227 Angled Blush Brush. This is such a gorgeous color. It doesn't look like much in the pan, but it just looks so beautiful on the skin. Now with these blushes, because they are highly pigmented, when I pick it up on the brush, I don't go directly onto my face. I always just put a little bit right on my inner wrist, just to make sure that I get, most of it on here, not a big glob on here. And again, I start way back up high in my hairline because I don't want a big glob of color here that I can't blend out. So I just start up here, and I just really use the brush and pounce it on and bring it forward. And then same on the other side. See, and even with putting some on my wrist originally, I still feel like it's a little bit, heavy-handed up there. Now I usually add highlighter, and I noticed that on that day I forgot to put on highlighter. So if you want to wear highlighter, you can. I'm not going to, because I'm trying to replicate the look from the video from the other day. So no highlighter today. So let's go ahead with the brows and the eyes. And I don't really like to let my lips like dry out while I'm putting on the rest of my makeup. So I'm going to put on some Soap and Glory Pillow Plump, and this one is in Pinkwell, because it's just so nice and hydrating, and it's kind of minty, and I just love the minty tingle of that. Let's go ahead and do the eyebrows next. I'm using Glossier Brow Flick, and this one is in Blonde. And then, where we're doing the eyes, we might as well come in a little closer now. I like to fill in the sparse areas, and also like right in here where it really goes kind of far up in there, I want to straighten that out a little bit. I want that to be more of a straight line than an arch there. And I love this because you can just make the tiniest little brow hair looking marks that look so natural. I do like to define the top edge, and then I just bring it kind of straight down from there, and just give myself a little extra length at the tail. And I just run through that with a spoolie. All right, and this is a part a lot of you have been waiting for a while, is the tutorial with the Sephora I Love palette. So I have this in the light cool shade. This is a great little palette. It comes in cools and warms, and then a light, a medium, and a deep of each. So today we're going to go in first with the lightest shade here. I'm going to use my Wayne Goss number 18 brush. And I'm going to pick up some of that color on both sides of the brush. And then I'm going to pack that on the movable part of my lid. Why does this brush seem so big all of a sudden? It seems like way too big for my eyelid all of a sudden. I'm going to switch out that one. Let me switch over to my It Cosmetics. I hate it when they stamp the name of the brush in silver on a silver handle. Like, how am I supposed to read silver on silver? Oh wait, if I turn it just right. Oh, 112. I think it's a 112 brush. All right, so the It Cosmetics 112 brush. It's a little bit smaller. It's going to depend on how much space you have here on your eyelids. I mean, people are going to have different amounts of space. Mine is pretty small. So anyway, I'm going to go in with this brush, dip it in both sides, and pack that on the movable part of my lid. And I'm going to go from the inner corner, really brighten up that inner corner, out to the outer corner, keeping that below the crease. And then if there's anything left on the brush, I'm just going to put that right underneath my eyebrow for the brow highlight. You don't want to use a shimmer up here. You always want to use a matte color on the brow. And you don't want it to be too thick, and you don't want it to come in too far. So going back into the eyeshadow, loading up both sides again, and then applying to the other eyelid, from the crease down to the eyelashes. And if you need to pull up on your eyebrow to get a nice smooth canvas going in there so you don't iron in any creases, then get that inner corner nice and smooth by going back and forth. Always check in your 10x mirror to make sure that you haven't left any creases in there with your eyeshadow. Let's switch over to a brush that I don't need to look at the number to know it. It's my MAC 221, my favorite crease eyeshadow brush. And I'm going to go into the middle shade in the palette because this is the cooler of the two. And where we're doing this cooler pink eye look, I'm going to choose this one over this one. Even though this is supposed to be a cool palette, this one is a little bit warmer. So anyway, I'm just going to roll my brush in this color. I like to get the pigment on all sides of my brush. I always tap it off, get off any excess, and then I just start at the outer corner of my eye. I pretty much jam the brush right into the deepest part of that crease and then drag it down to my eyelashes. And just kind of keep pressing and packing that on as many times as it takes until you start seeing a buildup of color out there. And then going back into the palette, rolling it again. Now that you have that point kind of marked there, which shows you how high you want to put your eyeshadow, now you can go over and reach over, lift up with your fingers again to make that nice and smooth. And then you're just going to follow along the curve of that bone, which is not the occipital bone. I guess I said that in a tutorial recently. And apparently that's at the back of your head. And this would be like maybe an orbital bone or some bone of your eye socket. Anyway, just along that eye socket bone. And then I want to put it all the way up on this puffy piece of skin that folds forward. Those of you with the hooded eyes, you are familiar with that, and you also know that you need to get your crease color on there in order to make it visually recede so that it doesn't look like it's folding forward and laying on your eyelashes. So you want to get your crease color going on that upper part. It may seem at first like you're putting your eyeshadow on way too high, but don't worry, as long as you're using a color that's not too dark, it's only a shade or two darker than your skin tone, it will look good. All right. And of course you want it to go deep into the crease, but you don't want to get it below your natural crease because you want this to stay light and bright. And everything at the outer corner, you don't want anything to come down into this area. You want to draw an imaginary line from the corner of your eye up to the corner of your eyebrow, and you want to keep everything inside of that. All right, so then you're just going to go back and forth and work that until you get the look that you want. And I am just going to go ahead and do the other eye. It doesn't look to me, when I'm looking back at the video, like I did much darkness at the outer corner. If I did, I went in with my Sigma Crease Shader E47 brush, this little guy here. I love this little guy, and the darkest shade in the palette. And I basically just take that, put it deep in the crease, and then drag it down to my eyelashes at an angle, almost setting up like my little mini baby wing for my eyeliner there. So for my blending brush today, I'm going to use the Wayne Goss number 16 brush. I'm just going to start at the outer corner and use little circular motions and blend that across. All right, so then I went in with the pinkish shimmer color in this palette, and I put this on with my Sigma Lid Shader E56 brush, and I'm going to put that at the inner corner. I'm going to press it on and drag over to the right towards the center of my eye. I am going to add the Charlotte Tilbury cream shadow. This one is in Marie Antoinette. This is the Eyes to Mesmerize. Now a little bit of this goes a long, long way, so I just dip my finger in and grab the tiniest little amount of that. I'm just going to place that right in the center of my eyelid and over to the right, and I want to keep the inner part light and bright. It looks really dark in the pot, and it looks really dark when you first pull it out in your finger, but it actually shears out really, really nicely. All right, let's go into eyeliner. Surprisingly, I used a bluey purpley eyeliner that day. This is Marc Jacobs Highliner Gel Eyeliner in the color Think. So I'm just going to press it at the bottom of my lashes and just work it back and forth. I'm going to go ahead and line my upper lashes. Just going to start at the center. Then when I get out here to the place that I'm going to stop, I'm going to put it on there a little bit thicker. And then I'm going to grab this tiny, tiny little angled brush from BK Beauty. It's the tiniest brush I've ever seen. It's their number 208, and it's perfect for doing the little blob technique. So I'm just going to grab that eyeliner and flick it up at the outer corner to get a little bit of a kick. Then for the lower lash line, I used my Essence, what I have left of my waterproof eyeliner pencil in Rockin' Taupe. So I'm just going to put this at the outer corner. And this is a cool color, so I don't really want to warm up this eye look by introducing any warm colors. Then let's go in with the mascara. I'm using the L'Oreal Unlimited mascara. I like to concentrate it at the outer corner. That also helps the eyes look more open and bright. So now the eyes are all finished, the face is mainly done. We can move on to the lippy, which is probably the thing that you guys like the best. And I had used, as usual, my Urban Decay 24/7 lip liner in Naked. Let's just go ahead and line the lips. And then the lippy that I used that day that you guys loved so much was the Stila Stay All Day liquid lipstick. This one is in Sheer Patina, and I love this because it's a really cool pink. It's so pretty. And it lasts like you can't believe. It's also very smoothing. Actually, I just remembered, because this is looking a little pinkier than I had on that day. I think I layered it with Carmelo, which is just a little bit of a nudier color. So I feel like I might have had Carmelo over the top, because this seems to me like it's a little bit pinkier than the shade I had on. Uh-oh, and I told everybody it was just Sheer Patina. Now I can't remember what I did. I swear I had on like 15 different lipsticks that day. Oh my gosh, I just kept layering things until I got like some weird color that I liked. So let me just put a little bit of Carmelo on. This one tends to be a little bit too fleshy for me. Now I'm just going to mix in a little bit of Sheer Patina with Carmelo. And I want to say that that is how I got the effect of the lippy in that video. All right, you guys, so that is it for today's video. I hope that if you're going to follow along with me on this one, that you have huge success with this look and that it becomes one of your spring go-tos this year, because I really love it. I feel like I'm going to be wearing it a lot. I hope you found it helpful and informative. If you did, go ahead and give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.